Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to Tony the Technician channel, and today we're going to be going into installing the Aerocatch hood pins into my 3rd gen Camaro hood. It's probably the first video with this hood. This is the Sunoco hood from Latches. Hawks also has one that's a little bit different design, and then VFN also has one very similar to this one. The cowl up towards the windshield is a little bit different, but I decided to go with this one. Both Latches and VFN have great reviews as far as their hoods and everything. Now, I've already installed this and tweaked. I've spent hours tweaking it and trying to get the hood to match up with the fenders and everything as best as I possibly can. And as far as my experience and what I've heard about the VFN hood, I heard that one's probably a little bit easier to just bolt on and go than these ones. I've had to trim up on the cowl up here to prevent it from hitting the windshield, and then here to prevent it from hitting down here. Nothing major, that's no big deal. Unfortunately, even after I signed for it, I did find just a small nick in the corner of the hood over here, and I've went ahead and repaired it. I just need to go in and sand it down. It was just a couple small chips into it, and I didn't want it getting any worse. And they do ship it with this 1/2-inch lip on the front of the hood, and most of the time when you send it in to get prepped for painting and all that, they do the sanding and all that. Most of the time they actually remove that lip. I actually kind of like the way, after I got this hood adjusted, I like the way this lip looks. It kind of just slightly hangs over the top of the headlight. I think it's kind of unique, so I'm going to leave it. But other than that, we're going to be installing the Aerocatch hood latches or hood pins. I went with the locking ones. These are flush mount, really nice. And then you can get them without the locks, and then you can get them with the red anodized hood pins. And then luck of the draw, you may or may not get a template. Mine does not. Mine has instructions on how to make a template, but doesn't provide you with a template as far as the hole that you need to cut in order to get this installed into the hood. So of course I had to make up my own template. That center hole, I line that up with the hole that we drill in the hood, and then I can make that inner circle cut, and then we can go about it. But the first thing you need to do is locate a good spot for your hood pins and figure out where you're going to mount those hood pins at. I've located here is where your hood bumper stops would be. I have mine removed right now, and I've located a spot where it actually is open on the bottom side of this framing, so I can actually run the pin down there. There's enough room and everything. I can get a nut on the back side. So I've went ahead and just made the measurements and made sure it's centered the same on both sides, so we can go ahead and drill that hole out and get the hood pins installed. And then the next step will be marking the underside of the hood and drilling through the hood. So I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys enjoy this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions. As far as the part number on the one I went with, it is 120-2100. Really nice hood latches. There's a lot of videos on the install, so if I'm just kind of all over the place in this video, it's because I'm doing multiple things on this car, and this is just one step that I wanted to include in one of my videos. So I hope you guys enjoy, but let's get to this. So I have the hood pins in and set a little bit higher, so I know they'll contact the hood when I set the hood down. Obviously be very careful setting your hood down. I went ahead and applied a small amount of dielectric grease to the top. You can use anything of that sort. I know a lot of people use toothpaste. It's mentioned in like every one of these hood installs. Any type of grease, a paint pen, dielectric grease, you know, anything like that. But I have it set on both sides, and now we're just going to slowly lower the hood, make contact, and find our points on the hood where these touch. Now mine is most likely going to touch somewhere around this bumper, since this is where the stock bumper would sit. Mine's probably going to contact right here on the edge. You can see this is a thicker portion of the hood, so normally you would just drill a hole through wherever it contacts and then cut your bigger hole on the top of the hood, and sometimes you have to cut one on the bottom side in order to get your mounting bracket underneath so you can pinch the two pieces together. What I'm going to do, instead of drilling a hole through the hood at that point, I'm actually going to find out where the pin contacts, and then I'm going to cut out the area first, and then I'll find another contact point on the actual underside of the hood, so I know I'm getting my pinhole in the correct position and not having at an angle or accidentally going through at the wrong angle or anything like that. So we'll find our point. I'll kind of draw out a area that I'm going to have to cut, and then we'll go to actually making the contact point inside of the hood. I set the hood down on the pins. Here is my contact point, and I kind of just drew a 1x3 or so box around that area on both sides. And I'm just going to go ahead and use my Dremel and kind of cut out that area so I can then actually get the pin to touch the bottom side of the upper layer. So we'll go ahead and get that done now. Make sure when doing this part, if necessary, even if you're just drilling through the hood, lay down a tarp so you don't get anything in your engine bay or anything like that. Try and protect it as much as possible. We have the holes cut on both sides, and then I went ahead and pulled back the tarp, reapplied some dielectric grease, and as you can see, hopefully up in here, you can see the dielectric grease made contact there and there. So we'll go ahead, and that is where we're going to be drilling through the hood at. So I'll go ahead and do that now, and then we can mark our location on the top with our template once we have the pilot hole started. So I have my holes drilled on both sides, just big enough for the pin to actually fit through, so I can lay my template over the pins. You can see that and that. So now I can take my template, put the center cutout hole over, so I can place this. I'll cut that center section out, place it over the pin, and I will cut the hole to the inner circle. This outer circle is the bracket that actually goes underneath like this. So we want to cut that inner diameter in the top of the hood. So we'll go ahead and get that lined up and get it done. Here we have, sorry about the lighting, the cut diameter that we're going to have to cut out. And basically I just took my template, cut out that center hole, and I want them facing this direction. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it would look as good this direction. I like the latch a little bit further back. Now the latch will open that direction, and if you turn it around, obviously it'll open towards the front of the car. So I think I like it like this. So I'll just slide that over the pin like so, center it, and then once I make sure, a lot of people will use a cardboard, cut out the edge of the cardboard to shape like this, and then cut the other edge along the hood so you can make sure that the angle is the same. I'm going to take measurements from the edge of the hood to the center of here and just make sure that it's at the same angle on both sides, and then I'll draw up this template, and then I'll go ahead and use my little Dremel here and cut the holes in the top of the hood, and then we'll be able to start mounting the actual latches. Okay, so I have one. I knew I was gonna have to open this hole up more in the direction that the mount went to get that bottom bracket in there, to get this guy to fit up in here. But it actually came into the portion where the second skin meets the top skin, so I had to shave away very carefully around here so I can get that bracket in there. So just my luck that it would end up in that spot. I mean, I knew it was going to be in this area, but I didn't think it was going to get into this, so I had to kind of shave through the bottom layer without going through the top layer. And I was using some cheap little like 1-inch cutting discs, and they just kept breaking. They were super thin, so I went out and bought some good heavier duty discs for my Dremel, and seems to be working pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and just open up the hole on the other side, and then we'll start on this side. So I went ahead and got this one cut out. I used a cutoff blade to get the basic shape of it, and then I went in just a roller bit, and kind of smoothed everything out and just kind of kept trimming and shaving away until it drops right in. There's that. So now I still can't get the bottom plate in here because of this material in here, so I have to go in from the bottom and cut away this bottom lip without coming through the hood. So I just kind of have to go in and get rid of all of this material about a 1/2 inch back around here, so I can get that bottom plate in there. Got it trimmed enough to get the plate up in there. Now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the hood down on the latches, lock it so the latch is in place so it doesn't move whatsoever, and where it sits you can either mark the holes and then drill them. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a smaller bit and just very carefully, as it's latched down, go through and drill each one of the 6 holes on both sides. Here is the bottom plate that would go underneath the hood, the flat portion up, and then in the bottom side you have kind of a hex. So you would take your locking nut and you basically drop it into the hole, and then this goes into the countersunk portion on the top of the hood, drops down, and so with this you don't actually have to hold the nut in place. The bracket does it itself. And then they also include washers, and I believe, since obviously you can't use washers in this bracket, the washers are going to be for those instances when you can't use this backing plate. Obviously this is a much preferred method of securing the hood latch, but if it is not possible, I believe that's what the washers are included for, so you can just run it straight through the hood. Mine being fiberglass, I'm definitely going to run this backing plate. And in order to do that, the first thing you want to do is make sure that these are tightened down and set at the right angle and height. Once you've got that, make sure it's completely locked down, so when you go to actually shut your hood, go to shut the hood, everything lines up nicely, because there's still some play here. So you want to make sure that it is completely locked down in the right position. You still have a little bit of play here, so I'm going to measure from here to the side of the hood to make sure that we have the same here that we have over here. And now I will go through and draw or drill a small hole in each one of these, since everything's locked down, and then we'll be able to put the mounting plate up underneath and finally get these completely bolted in. Alrighty YouTubers, so that's it as far as the hood latch install. I have just one Allen here and here installed on both hood latch, just because I'm having the car wrapped, so I'm not going to completely install these, but they're completely ready to just be bolted down. I just would like to remove these so they can wrap as far underneath of them as possible. That's the only reason I haven't completely finished this install, but that is the install. If I wasn't recording, it would probably take me maybe half a day, a couple hours, just depending on, you know, how long it takes you to get this all lined up and cut it out and everything, depending on the tools you're using and whether or not you get the diagram with your set or not. But that is the install for the Aerocatch locking flush mounted hood pins, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. They work very well, and I think it'll look really good when everything is done and wrapped. So let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. If you guys have installed these, how are they holding up for you? And if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. See you guys next time.